Right, so
Your Honor, on Mr. Benjamin Richardson, I filed a motion to revoke his bond.
hold on just a second. Who is it we're dealing with? Mr. Richards, Benjamin Parker Richardson, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now go.
All right, have file number 19858 and 19859. I filed this motion to revoke Mr. Richardson's bond. In the case ending in 858, Mr. Richardson is charged with domestic assault, aggravated burglary, DUI second per se, public intox, implied consent, possession of a firearm while intoxicated, and violation of bond conditions. Now, when these cases were bound over to the grand jury, his bond was reduced from $100,000 to $25,000 with the agreement that he was to wear a SCRAM monitor. And that would have his alcohol tracked. Now, since that date, he has had several violations through the monitoring company with nationwide electronic monitoring. And I filed those as an exhibit to the motion, Your Honor. Not only did I file that as exhibit B, I have exhibit A where the agreement for the SCRAM monitor was placed on him. Now, I have Miss Kelly Arnold here to testify regarding the exhibit B and the monitoring and violations, Your Honor.
Right. You wish to make any sort of opening statement, Mr. Vaughn?
No, wait, that's good.
All right, I'll call your first witness.
Your Honor, I call Kelly Arnold with Nationwide Monitoring.
You'll come by up and raise your right hand and be placed under oath.
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help God.
Can you state your name for the record once you get seated? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kelly Arnold,
And where are you employed?
Nationwide Electronic Monitoring.
Okay. And how long have you been employed with them?
I've been employed with them since December, but the company that I was previous with, I have been with since 2015 in electronic monitoring.
Okay, so you have experience since 2015 on electronic monitoring. What kind of training do you have regarding being able to interpret the things that you see as electronic monitoring?
I have a SCRAM level 1 training, which is understanding the components and how the
Ma'am, if
device.
you'll pull that microphone toward you a little bit, it's very, these things don't pick up unless you're almost having to talk directly into them. So,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you.
I have a SCRAM level 1 training, which is just the understanding of the components and how the device works and how to install it. I also have level 2 training, which is court testimony and reading the reports as a custodian of records.
Okay. Are you responsible for Mr. Benjamin Richardson?
I am the custodian of records for Mr. Richardson's.
And
device.
you've brought those and provided those to the state?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna go through a couple dates. Do you have your notes to be able to help you testify on those dates?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to first start, we're just gonna go chronologically. So can you tell me when Mr. Richardson was added to your company's monitoring?
December 18th of 2025.
All right. So February 1st of 2026, did you have an alert regarding Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that report? February 1st of 2026.
That was actually a confirmed consumption.
Okay. Tell me and walk me through the process of what a confirmed consumption looks like.
Okay. So the device is taking a test every 30 minutes from the skin. It's taking a air sample from the skin. So we advise them to keep the device to the leg, nothing in between it. So when alcohol is consumed, your body absorbs it, metabolizes it, and then it has to be released through your organs, your largest organ being your skin, which is your dermis. So it's a transdermal device. So every 30 minutes, that device is taking a test of the air samples. In order to confirm a consumption for alcohol, which the analysts do from SCRAM, the device has to make sure there are 2 readings at 0, followed by an absorption rate, a peak, and an elimination rate, followed by 2 extra points of 0. So on this day, it actually began on January 31st. It started detecting alcohol, I'm sorry. Yes, it started detecting alcohol at noon. It peaked around 12 a.m. on February 1st, and we finally reached 2 zeros on February 1st, about 10 a.m. Or I'm sorry, 8:12 a.m.
Okay, so the way it works is it's going to detect that they've started consuming alcohol, and it will just kind of give you a time frame of you start from 0 and then you finally get back to 0.
Correct.
Can't tell exactly when it was, right?
Well, you can tell when the body started absorbing the alcohol.
Okay. Can it tell, what we're used to is a BAC. So it can't say that it has reached a 0.08 or anything like that, just that there has been alcohol consumption.
So it gives us readings, but to compare them to your BAC and your BRAC is apples to oranges. Your transdermal alcohol content is different from your breath and your blood because of the way it's metabolized.
Okay. And so to be fair, it just does that it has been consumed, and that is the main thing, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It starts analyzing the alcohol at a 0.02 for TAC, just for the record.
Okay. Now, is there anything that could cause it to trigger and say that alcohol is present, but it not necessarily be consumed?
Yes, so those are environmental factors,
Okay.
and there are tests involved in the criteria as well as the actual device to determine if it was an environmental. Usually with an environmental, you're going to see a spike up and a spike down. There's not going to be an absorption rate or an elimination rate. So you kind of have that safeguard to
Okay.
ensure that.
So to say that maybe they're going to look at body temperature.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And so that, what would body temperature tell you as far as someone wearing a monitor?
So the body temperature, what we do when we install this device is it takes a baseline. It's going to determine the body's temperature, the IR voltage, which is the light refraction between the leg and the device, as well as any alcohol in the body. And the purpose of the temperature gauge is to ensure that there's nothing going between the leg and the bracelet. Because again, if there is something between the leg and the bracelet, they're advised that you have to ensure that nothing does do that, because we're trying to take air samples directly from the skin.
Okay. So if, let's say it had something in between and it made some sort of spike, and you look through it and you think there's conception, you kind of run those different checks and balances.
Yes, the analysts run those checks and balances. They also have a tamper criteria. So if there's something between the leg and the bracelet for more than 8 hours and no alcohol present, they're going to confirm the tamper. If they have something between the leg and the bracelet and alcohol is present, which means that you're still able to take alcohol samples from the air samples, usually socks, leggings, pants, sheets, anything that may or may not. I've pulled ham and bologna out between it as well. But anything permeable is still going to allow the alcohol to come in, but they don't always confirm it when that happens. So that's why they confirm the tamper.
Okay. So if the checks and balances regarding those different things, when the analysts look at it, don't go out, how do y'all treat that?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So if you do the checks and balances, the analysts look at it and they say that there was too much air in between or something like that. How do you guys treat those? Are those considered a positive? What do you end up doing there?
So if they cannot confirm it, we just move on. There's no violation sent to the court. As long as the analysts cannot confirm it, then we don't send a violation.
Okay. So if there's no confirmation, the checks and balances, they get a benefit of the doubt. They could have consumed, but y'all go through extra steps. So if you have a confirmation, it has gone through extra steps to make sure all the checks and balances and the monitor is working correctly for you to say that there was a consumption.
Correct.
Okay. And you said on February 1st, you did all of that process, and the analyst went through all the checks and balances, and he had a consumption on that date.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, can you tell me when the next consumption violation occurred?
The next day, it was starting at, let's see, the baseline was established at 1:14 p.m. By 8:58, we hit a peak, and zero was not reestablished until February 3rd at 3:25 a.m., meaning that it was a multi-day consumption. So when we have multi-day consumptions, it's basically stating that because of the criteria that we have, that it has to have double zeros before and after the event, it never made it to double zeros. It just kind of either he did not quit drinking or he didn't have enough time for the alcohol to leave his body completely to get the double staggering.
So that was a multi-day consumption from February 2nd to February 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
When would the next consumption date be?
Well, we actually had a confirmed tamper through that process as well, on the 2nd. Went through the 2nd to the 3rd. Then we had another multi-day peak alcohol consumption, February 3rd, beginning February 3rd through February 7th. Zero was established on Tuesday, February 3rd at 6:26 a.m. A peak of 0.063 was established on February 3rd at 6:46 p.m. And then another peak was confirmed of 0.267 on Friday, February 6th at 10:50 p.m. He did not reach double zeros again until February 7th at 9:40 a.m.
Okay. When would be the next time we see a consumption?
We had the confirmed tamper with alcohol detected on February 5th through the 9th. Another confirmed tamper with alcohol detected February 9th through February 11th. A confirmed consumption February 9th through February 10th. A confirmed tamper with alcohol detected February 11th through February 12th. Confirmed consumption February 11th through February 12th. A confirmed tamper with alcohol detected February 12th through February 14th. We had a confirmed tamper with no alcohol present on February 14th through the 15th. Confirmed tamper with alcohol detected February 24th through the 25th. Confirmed tamper with alcohol February 25th through February 27th. Confirmed alcohol consumption February 26th through February 27th. Confirmed tamper with alcohol detected February 27th through March 1st. Multi-day peak consumption February 27th through March 1st. March 1st through March 2nd, a confirmed alcohol consumption. Confirmed alcohol detected, or confirmed tamper with alcohol detected March 2nd through March 3rd. Another multi-day peak alcohol consumption March 3rd through the 5th. A confirmed tamper from March 4th through the 5th with alcohol. Multi-peak alcohol consumption March 6th through the 12th. And that's all I have.
Okay. Now, in particular, he was supposed to be in court on March, I believe, March 12th, might have been March 10th. March 10th. During that time frame of March 10th, can you tell if he was consuming alcohol when he was supposed to be at court?
Yes, that was part of the multi-peak consumption from March 6th through March 12th, where the TAC never hit zero in beginning and the ending of the event. So they had to call it a multi-day consumption.
Okay. And I have another question. So all this does is have the transdermal, does there any kind of GPS location with it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So during that whole time frame, could he have been operating a vehicle?
He could have.
Okay. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Ron, you have questions?
Yeah, a couple of follow-ups. So it's funny you say that. I literally wrote baloney on your ass about that because I've heard people doing that. So that's just an effort to like have sort of like a skin-like thing between the monitor.
Yes, sir. So in my first year, I was living in East Tennessee, and a lady told me that she'd Googled what it was like, or how to conceal
Yeah.
alcohol while wearing a SCRAM, and she had cured ham between her leg and the bracelet because Google told her it was cured ham. But we have
Did-
seen all sorts of deli meats go between these bracelets.
Does it work?
No.
Oh,
That's why
Okay.
we have the test.
okay. So we were talking about environmental factors. Would that include like a spill? Like if somebody just spilled a beer on my ankle, would it be?
It would definitely trigger an alert, but it's what I had referenced earlier with the spike of alcohol. You know,
Yeah.
when you put hand sanitizer on, you know, that alcohol's on your hands briefly and then it dries instantaneously. and
Right.
It's the same with alcohol. We have plenty of people that are bartenders, and you'll see that, you know, you're looking for more of a gradual bell curve.
Not just
but
a
with
pop, pop.
up and down is what it's gonna give you.
Okay. What are some other things in the world that might trigger a false positive, like NyQuil? Is that something that would Listerine, like these sorts of things? Can they show up and be kind of a
Well, they're not gonna be a false positive because it's actual alcohol. So
Okay.
it's detecting the alcohol. However, if they were to take Benadryl, and I've been on the stand for this multiple
Right.
times, if they were to take Benadryl or a NyQuil Dayquil, if it were to be taken as directed, as prescribed, it would never even pop up on my radar.
Okay.
However, part of our contract is to not consume, use, or be around any products that contain alcohol so that cannot be listed as a
okay?
false positive.
So just more of my own education, because I obviously deal with this a lot and with the DUI world. What are some things that are on the list that that I am not thinking of?
Body wash.
Body wash.
Body wash has a high content of alcohol.
Okay.
However, it's also going to show me a spike. It's not, you know, all of these products that contain alcohol that we tell them to avoid are just so that they can't use it as a crutch. It's not going to detect it as a consumption because it won't meet the criteria.
What if you took a bath and like soaked in a tub for a minute?
Well, then you're gonna owe me $1,500 for the device because you're not supposed to submerge the device underwater because there's a pump inside of it that takes it your sample.
So no swimming, no
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 swimming, no
lake days,
baths,
no nothing.
no hot tubs, no saunas, no tanning beds, nothing. They can take showers, they can wash it and dry it thoroughly. We recommend bar soap. If they want to wear body spray or smell good, spray it on your clothes, then put your clothes on. Again, it's gonna dry almost instantaneously on your skin.
Okay. What's something else other than body wash?
We tell them to avoid mouthwash. We tell them to avoid any products that contain alcohol. We also advise them not to utilize any products. Non-alcoholic products still contain alcohol.
So if you were gonna have an NA beer, that's no good too.
No, sir.
Okay. 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 So this number that gets spits out that has from a positive or whatever words you used, what does that number look like? Is there any correlation to beers? Can you
It's kind of like correlating it.
like 20 beers would be like 1,000 or
Well, it depends on how you metabolize it.
okay.
Because, you know, I could be a hardcore drinker and metabolize, even being a smaller person, and
Right.
metabolize it better than a large person that only drinks one or two. So it really just depends on how their body metabolizes it. So I can't tell you what kind of alcohol they were drinking. I can't tell you,
What-
how much they drank, but I can tell you how their body absorbed it and eliminated it.
What kind of numbers are we talking about in this situation? Just on the court date. Give me the court date one.
So because it's a multi-day, I have it through all the days. On the 10th, it looks like he was between a 0.2 and a 0.4 at one point,
Okay,
Which-
so
which is high because we start detecting alcohol at 0.02 when it comes to our transdermal alcohol content,
Okay.
our TAC. It looks like he got to a peak of 0.437 on March 5th. March 11th, he peaked at 0.165.
if you were drinking NA beers, is it possible to get a number like that?
I would
You'd have to-
highly doubt it. I
you'd-
can't confirm one way or the other, but I would highly doubt that.
You'd have to drink like 30 NA
A
beers.
lot.
Okay. Yep, those are my questions.
Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Based on your experience and your understanding of how this works and so forth, any question but that these alerts that you've received indicate that the defendant was in fact consuming alcohol during that time, in your opinion?
Yes, sir. According to our results and our reports. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may sit down.